In today's Mastering the California Awards program, we'll be talking about some insider tips on how you can prepare for competition. And by insider, I don't mean tips from other competitors. These are tips from the administrators. Pretty much tips from me, the CAP coordinator, the rule maker, the one who gets to see why competitors get disqualified all the time. Don't let that be you. So here are 7 tips you better make sure to follow. If you do this, I guarantee that you will be way ahead of the curve. So let's get started. Tip number 1, read the guidelines, and I mean all of it. That's a no-brainer, right? You know, it's amazing though how many times I've seen competitors completely miss the ball because they did not understand what their event was about. The event guidelines tell you what to study, if you can bring anything, and the additional rules for the event type. So let me give you some examples. I'm going to flip over to the CAP. Here are the event guidelines for job interview. Zoom in a little bit for you. Look familiar? You apply for a job in this event by filling out a job application and submitting a cover letter and resume. Sounds great, right? But let's take a look at this. Right over here, where my cursor is. It says, the job must be one for which the competitor is now qualified or will be qualified for at the completion of the current school year. So you must be qualified for the job. As a high school student or graduate, I know you're all smart, but you do not qualify to be an IT director at Merit Corporation. The company is fictitious, but not your background. So it's in your best interest to apply for something you qualify for. You're rated how well you do on your interview and not what position you chose to apply for. So the reason why I'm sharing this is that if you miss this line here where it talks about the job being one that you must be qualified for, then you may apply for something that you wish to get after college or that you wish to get in the future. And that's great, but that's not what this event is about. And I've seen this happen a lot, and that affects how you get rated in this event. So make sure you read these guidelines carefully because it'll give you all the information you need to know in order to do well. Let me show you another example. So here's client service. Notice though, down here, that there are additional guidelines that you can click on. So these links are on every single event. It says click to review additional event type guidelines. So you know what you should do? Yep, click on it. So these guidelines here apply to every event that is sequestered. So here's information about where to go, when the doors close, and what you can and can't bring into the sequester room. We disqualify people every year for not going to sequestering. So make sure you read the guidelines, all of it, make sure you see whether your event is sequestered or not, and if it is, you can jump over to this page and take a look at what the rules are. You know, we do have a grace period. You can, enter the room 5 minutes late. You'll get a little bit of a point deduction, but it gives you, a little bit of time to make sure you get there. After 5 minutes, though, you'll be disqualified. And then here are some sequestered rules about what you can bring into the room. So this is helpful to know. Make sure you read all this. This is all information that's available to you in the CAP. And lastly, I will show you another example. And let's take a look at an objective event. Here are securities and investments. One of the newer objective events that we have. So there's a lot of additional guidelines here. I'm not going to click on it or go over it, but make sure to click through this when you do read this event if you're planning on competing in it, because it is helpful information and it applies to all objective events. But I do want to point out down here the competencies section. You get to see here what you're being tested or judged on. If it's a performance event, it'll also say performance competencies. So make sure to take a look at this at the bottom of every event guideline. It helps you decide what to study and how to prepare, because here are some topics for you. Alright, so let me move on to tip number 2. If your event has a rating sheet, make sure to study the rating sheet. Remember that judges will only be rating you on those categories. You can talk or write about other things all you want. You can write about anything else you want in your report. You can present on other things. You can impress them all you want, but they can only give you points for what they are allowed to give you points for. And all that is on the rating sheet itself. So your goal should be to make sure you exceed expectations for every category on that rating sheet. That is your priority. So to recap, number 1, read the event guidelines. Number 2, read the rating sheet. That's all in the cap. Tip number 3, follow the dress code. No, seriously, follow the dress code. If you're not sure if something passes dress code, don't wear it. Keep it professional. Save those party pants and party skirts for parties. Remember, and this is really important, you can be DQ'd without even knowing it. So don't leave any room for error. Go shopping now for your clothes. You have plenty of time to figure out what you're going to wear and plenty of time to make sure if it's appropriate. So go do that now. Tip number 4, observe the best. You can attend events as an audience member. Do you know that? All performance events are open to audience members except for Future Business Leader and Job Interview, since those are interview events, and Creed. So that means if you're interested in an event, and we're talking about performance events here, you don't really want to be watching people just taking tests. If you're interested in an event for next year and you want to see how it works, you can go check out the event in action. So you can watch other chapters present, and I think that's the best way to learn. And you can watch a few presentations, you can watch them all, you can watch different events. It gives you something to do at the conference. You can learn about all the different events that we have available. Just take a look at the conference schedule and see what you might want to sit in on. Tip number 5, find resources. So besides the CAP, there are some additional resources out there that are available, especially on the national website. First is the National Online Reference Guide. This page tells you what to study and actually provides links to sample videos and event materials. So reports you can actually take a look at. There are some samples on that page. You can also buy sample tests and reports from the FBLA MarketPlace. So there's 2 places for you on the national website where you can get some additional resources. So the direct links to the 2 things that I just mentioned are available in this video's description below, so you can go and check it out after you watch this. Tip number 6, bring your ID, no photocopies. So please make sure to do that. And your name badge, make sure to bring that too. You will need both to compete. Regarding your ID though, no photocopies. Seriously, we say no photocopies every year, and every year someone brings a photocopy. Here are the rules, word for word from the CAP. A photo ID is a school-issued ID or government ID, which is a valid driver's license, DMV ID card, passport, or permanent resident card. Again, no photocopies. Competitors who attend schools that do not provide photo IDs for students must provide a school-embossed seal on a transcript with the student's photo. No exceptions. And by no exceptions, we mean you will be disqualified if you don't bring one of these things. Got it? And lastly, don't be late. This applies to turning in a prejudged event. We don't care if it's a minute late or a week late. It's late, so we can't accept it. And all your hard work goes to waste. And of course, don't be late to your event. Whether it's an objective event or performance event, just don't be late. We have no problems with disqualifying latecomers. It's your loss. Leader time, folks. Remember that. Don't be late. And that takes us to the end of this video. So be sure to tune in, watch our other videos, the Mastering the California Awards Program series. If you have any questions or if you need additional help with what you need to do to prepare for your event, please make sure to email me, Lona Kwan, at competition@cafbla.org. Thanks for watching.